Simpleology Great Teacher Series. Joe Sugarman and Ted Nicholas teach direct response copywriting. Advertising Secrets of the Written Word, Part 1, by Joe Sugarman. Lesson 3. Practice, practice, practice. One of the first things I would ask my seminar students to think about was the definition of good copywriting. Is it the skill of being able to accurately put words on paper? Can it be taught? What sort of background do you need to be a good copywriter? We would then talk about both general knowledge and specific knowledge. But I explained that there was more to the art of copywriting. Copywriting is simply a written form of communicating facts and emotions. It is a mental process. Some copywriters will tell you that many of their greatest works were well thought out in their minds even before they put them on paper. Joe Carbo wrote one of the most successful income opportunity ads ever written for his book, The Lazy Man's Way to Riches, in one draft and without corrections. It just poured out of his mind onto a sheet of paper, and it was one of the few ads he ever wrote. Some copywriters will tell you that they just sit down and start writing. Some find that sitting in front of a computer does the trick, and others need something mechanical, like a pen and a pad of paper. My greatest ads were written during a variety of circumstances. Many were well thought out before I put the first word to paper, and they flowed out with hardly a correction. Other times they would flow, but you wouldn't recognize the first draft from the last because of the number of corrections I made. Sometimes I would sit in an airplane and just write from takeoff to landing and come up with some great copy. And other times I used my computer with great success. It's all a mental process. The bottom line for all these approaches is that copywriting is primarily the mental process of first getting your thoughts organized in your mind and then eventually transferring them onto paper. There is no best method, just what works for you. But the best place to start, without question, is to start. That's right. Pick up a piece of paper and a pen and start. Do enough of it over a long enough period of time, and I guarantee you'll improve each year. Write articles for a local newspaper. I started writing for my high school paper. It gave me experience and confidence. Write letters. Write postcards. Just plain write every opportunity you can. I look over my very first JS&A direct response ads and can't believe I wrote them. They were horrible. But I matured and I learned with each ad I wrote. In my first ads, I used cliches. It's the product the world has been waiting for. And my sentences weren't flowing as they do now. Sheer volume and experience will do wonders. As they say to anybody wanting to make it to Carnegie Hall, practice, practice, practice. Don't worry about the first draft. Another fact to realize about writing copy is that the first draft of an ad is often terrible, and the real skill in copywriting is taking that rough draft and polishing it. You might add words, delete entire sentences, or change the order of sentences, or even paragraphs. It's all part of the copywriting process. I often pointed out to my students that if everybody in the class were given the assignment of writing a draft of an ad for a product, the first draft of my ad would quite likely be terrible compared to everybody else's. It is what I do with the copy after my first draft that really makes the difference. In that first draft, the goal is to put something, anything, on paper, the emotional outpouring of everything you're trying to convey about your product or service. Don't worry about how it reads. Just get it down onto something you can work with, like a computer screen or a piece of paper, and then go from there. To define exactly what copywriting is, I often presented the following axiom. Axiom 1. Copywriting is a mental process, and its successful execution reflects the sum total of all your experiences, your specific knowledge, and your ability to mentally process that information and put it into words for the purpose of selling a product or service. And in this course, you'll learn some of the valuable techniques you can use to expand your knowledge of the copywriting process, so you can write copy that motivates people to take an action, specifically to take their hard-earned money and exchange it for your product or service. Copywriting is the key to any successful direct marketing venture. You can have the world's best product or service, but if you can't communicate your ideas, you have nothing. I'll give you the skills and insights you need to successfully write copy. I've already personally taken the most expensive course ever. If you would add up my failures and their cost to me, add the insights I received mostly from my failures, and then add the experiences I've had in copywriting and marketing, you would see that it has indeed been an expensive education. In the next lesson, we'll talk about the specific elements of direct response ads and what they're for.